An appellate court shot down a new congressional map that New York lawmakers had proposed because they said that it illegally favored Democrats. Now, these districts that were drawn in this map, it would have provided a strong Democratic majority in terms of registered voters, in terms of the people that we know are there. There would have been a strong Democratic majority in 22 out of the 26 districts in New York. So there were 27 districts in New York. They lost one because people are moving away from there, because a lot of people don't want to live in a leftist crime-ridden place like New York. And so they lost a House congressional seat. And so they only have 26 now. 22 of them under this new map would have been heavily Democrat, or would have been in areas where the registered voting base is heavily Democrat. And so an appellate court shot it down, said it was illegally drawn. And they said, quote, "We are satisfied that petitioners established beyond a reasonable doubt that the legislator acted with partisan intent." That was from a 3-judge majority. They wrote that in the decision according to the New York Times. The other 2 judges in this 5-judge appellate court dissented from the opinion, but 3 judges was all it took, and so the map was shot down. They said that the New York State lawmakers need to draw a new map by the end of the month and bring that back to them as they try to come up with what they're going to do for this 2022 election cycle in terms of what the districts are going to look like. As usual with some of these redistricting maps and things like that, there's going to be probably a legal battle. The Democrat governor, Kathy Hochul there in New York, has indicated that she is ready to battle this, ready to take it to court, and she wants those districts that were originally proposed to be the ones that are in place, obviously, because she's a Democrat, and these districts are very beneficial to Democrats. And so that's why she would have a vested interest in keeping those and why she wants to take it to court. So, it's hard to tell at the moment what's going to come of that. There's obviously going to be a lot of battles, a lot of maybe multiple courts that we'll have to go through before it's going to be decided. So even though it got shot down, there's nothing official. It's not set in stone for the 2022 election because of these subsequent lawsuits that could happen. But at the very least, it is a good sign for Republicans that this court in New York, which the New York Times actually said was should have been a favorable court towards Democrats, meaning that some of the judges on there were a little more left-leaning. Even they said, we're not going to let you gerrymander these districts. These districts are obviously disenfranchising people by making them so beneficial for Democrats and making it impossible for Republicans to win in a lot of districts. And so it's a good sign for Republicans that even a historically left-leaning court was able to overturn that. Hopefully it will be upheld, but in any case, it's a good sign. And it's not the only good sign that Republicans were able to have over the last week in redistricting. Another one that's probably made more headlines is what is going on in Florida. So according to the New York Times, Florida passed a redistricting proposal from New York Governor Ron DeSantis on Wednesday. It was pretty much the opposite of New York's map in the sense that this very much favored Republicans. There was going to be 4 new Republican districts that would be created by this map, and it would eliminate 3 historically Democrat districts. So obviously, huge gains for Republicans there if that were to be upheld. The Senate passed that bill on Wednesday, and then the State House followed that up by passing the bill on Thursday. It came across DeSantis' desk today, and he signed it. But it wasn't without a lot of noise from the left and from Democrats, especially when it was going through the House. There was a group of Democrats who showed up and began to make their concerns known in a rather loud manner. So we have a clip of that we can show you guys right now.
Discussed yesterday.
Members, we will either go into structured debate or we will call the previous question. Representative Renner, you're recognized for a motion.
Here, Mr. Speaker, I move the previous question on the bill.
Representative Renner moves the previous question on the bill. This motion is not debatable and requires a majority vote. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no.
So, I mean, obviously these people do not represent every Democrat. We understand that, that there are probably wild people on both sides. I'm sure there are some Republicans who would make similar demonstrations, and we would denounce those if they were to happen. But I think, as a general rule, when you see something like this, when you see a bill that is supposedly controversial being passed, when there is one side who is going into the chamber and screaming and making a huge scene, typically that's not the side that you want to be on. I mean, there are exceptions, of course, but when people are kind of acting foolishly like that, it kind of gives you a sense as to their reasoning and as to which side is being more logical. So I think that that's just a little bit of a hint into which side kind of is correct in this sense. But just like the New York bill, this one will probably face legal challenges, especially because DeSantis has pretty much admitted that it's going to be positive for Republicans. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's illegal, but it means that it's going to be looked at. They're going to look at it really closely and see if there's any way they can block it.